So SMT5 Vengeance is less than a week away. It should be coming out Thursday or Friday, depending on where you're at. And there's been so much news coverage and videos and merch and all kinds of stuff that Atlas has been doing to promote the game that it is hard to keep up with. So I believe this is going to be the last video I make before the game comes out, and I wanted to discuss some video footage. Basically, a trailer that Atlas West released after PV03. Atlas West released like another one, like their own trailer. And then Atlas Japan just released a title loop video, which will play in the beginning of the game, which I don't think it's been a while since they've done something like this. A title loop is something a lot of old games did, especially in the PS2 era. PS1, PS2, where when you're sitting idle at a title screen, there would be a video that played. And sometimes it would either show gameplay footage from the game or scenes from the game, cutscenes, anything like that. And they made a really cool title loop video that will play, I guess, when you're sitting idle in Vengeance's title screen, that it feels like a reference to Nocturne's title screen. I actually think, if I remember, I believe Nocturne got 2 different title loops. I know it has like 2 different songs for it, so it may have 2 different videos that play in the screen, the title screen, depending on I think whether you've beaten the game or if you're past a certain point in the game it would play stuff. And I will say, when I'm going over these, I must warn, if you haven't seen the title loop video yet and you've watched most of the trailers and the footage that has been put out for this game, the title loop feels really spoilery. So I think I'm going to go over that first. And then I'm going to kind of go through the trailer that Atlas West put out that reveals just a little bit more information. And then after this, I'm going to record like a separate thing that'll add onto this video relating to information from a certain game magazine. Just give a rough translation of information from that, since it's pretty interesting. They've also released, they are doing so much promotion stuff right now. It's crazy. Like, they're doing Persona levels of promotion and marketing for Vengeance. And they've been like doing 90s tier. I'm sure some of you have seen like the shorts on TikTok and Instagram, and like some of the other stuff that the events are doing that feels like 90s and early 2000s tier marketing. I assume that's what they're going for. There's all that going on, and then they released, you know how they did this, you know, they revealed this boy, which I got him modeled and everything, because of course they're giving out only like a few things of the plush. The Japanese audience, of course, is going to be getting, I think they're giving out 100? Japanese audience is getting like 100 of these things. The new Beano plush being given out, thankfully, because they didn't get a chance to get any of the plushes before. So on top of them doing that, they're revealing a bunch of merch, right? They just revealed another fucking plush. Another one! But this one's for the Japanese audience, because they didn't get a chance to get a bunch of plushes. They especially didn't get a chance to get like a blue Beano plush. So, they're getting like, there's like a small preview of it that they showed on a picture that Atlas Japan's Twitter posted. So there's that, on top of a ton of other merch that they're getting, which is good, because I feel like a lot of the Japanese player base for SMT5 felt like they weren't getting enough like unique merch for the game compared to the you know, the Western side. So thankfully they're getting that. So, you know, they get a new Beano plush. All right, onward to the title loop discussion, and I'm gonna be picking through that, and also the other trailer, the Atlas West trailer that they released in recent as well. Okay, so this is going to be the title loop video, or opening movie, which was released by Atlas West and Atlas Japan. Like I said, if you viewed trailer footage or gameplay footage from this game already in excess, then the title loop video will seem quite spoilery. And it is funny that it's showing the stuff that it shows, and this is a title loop video. But I guess if you did not watch as much stuff, you didn't spoil yourself as much with all the footage that has been shown, you wouldn't really know really get what was going on. So let's go ahead and watch this. And I mentioned too, the way this is edited is made to look like the Nocturne title loop videos that play the intro screen or the title screen. The protagonist being in the fetal position especially is a reference to Nocturne, because of course the Demi-Fiend is shown positioned in the same way. Even in the advertising, that was like one thing that they highlighted in the Nocturne's, the commercials made for Nocturne as well, as he's shown in that fetal position. Yoko is also shown in that position too, which is interesting. So we're seeing, I'm going to go through this too. I will discuss what's being shown here. I want to say I fucking love the music. I imagine, just like they did with Nocturne, they gave the game its own title loop music. That this track here is specifically made for the title loop, I imagine, like they did for Nocturne, which is really cool. Nocturne, I believe, got 2 title loop songs. So I wonder if we're actually going to get like a second title loop, maybe. Would be cool. It's very, I love the like heavy synth. It's very dark. Dark synth, dreamlike sequences, very surreal. Of course, as we know, the game is, chaos leading. It has a lot of dark themes. It's centered around vengeance. So let's go ahead and pick through the footage here. So we're seeing this ball here. This, which I assume it's something that the Kaditsu is gathering energy for. Which a lot of people theorize it's either they're trying to use it to create, it's like a world egg or something that they're feeding energy to use to create like a new world, or maybe they're gathering energy to summon like a new entity, or an entity, like a primordial entity. You see this egg-like thing too, like, there's 2 different objects here. There's this smaller egg-like thing that they're shown holding, that's probably what they're using to gather all the energy, like in one thing, and then they're sending that towards this like bigger orb that is like growing in an immense size. And then we're shown the protagonist floating in the fetal position. Now, I'm sure people wondered where exactly in the game this might be from, but there's a scene later, of course, which kind of hints at where this might be happening. So he's floating in like the void. In the now I watched a little bit of that 6-hour playthrough that the Japanese Atlas YouTube had posted or were streaming. I watched it a little bit. I didn't watch like the whole thing. I only watched up till like when they started the school segment, and I was told that it gets pretty spoilery. But this segment here, where it's showing the Kaditsu above, they're basically above the protagonist, and it's like a dreamlike sequence, and they're sort of like talking about, creating a new world, and sort of like what their intentions are. So I assume this is a part of that dream sequence, sort of hinting that, they are, it's necessary to use you to fuel like what they're trying to do, create a new world. Or go back to like a time of chaos, or before a bunch of stuff happened. And there's Yoko. The Yoko, we've seen this before with Yoko, but this is, I believe this is in like the very beginning of the game where you're choosing a path. So you either take her hand and choose the path of vengeance, or you don't and you choose the path of creation. So we're showing a bunch of quick shots of the Kaditsu. And then basically pulping, different characters in the game, whether that be humans in, recreated Tokyo, or demons in Dot, or humans that are in Dot, or angels even. So we're shown, this is a scene here of Yuzuru and Dazai getting into a fight. I think that the background looks like the school, when the school gets attacked, so they end up getting into a fight there. I did not watch up to that point. in the 6-hour stream. But if you watch a lot of the like trailer footage and like the little character bio things that they've been posting to the Atlas Japanese Twitter, you pretty much are, it's implied that, you know, of course they end up fighting. Yuzuru is frustrated. It seems like Yuzuru is frustrated with the situation with his sister and the things going on, and you know he's given the ability to summon demons with his phone and everything to help, you know, deal with the situation. He's given that ability by, you know, Koshimizu and all, but I think it might be hinted from what they've been showing with the trailer footage that that's not enough, and so he's like wanting to go off and maybe find out a way to become a Nahobino. And so like there is some dialogue. I don't know if it's in here. It might be in the Japanese version of like one of the trailers that they showed, or maybe in PV03 where Dazai mentions that he's gonna try and stop Yuzuru because Yuzuru's like, you know, runs off and you know, wants to become a Nahobino. There is of course a fight that you get into where you're fighting against Yuzuru, so maybe the Kodetsu are manipulating him to fight against you, or he's deciding on his own to go off and do his own thing, not listening to anyone else because he wants power to be able to deal with the situation, and what he's being given is just not enough. And of course, if you know about his sister's situation, you know that she's, you know, even in Vanilla V, she's, you know, weak, she's probably dying. She will die, she has a disease, like a blood disease that she's dealing with, and of course there's some stuff related to Kansu that happens because of that, and I'm sure they'll cover that. Hopefully they'll go over more related to that in this too. So pushing Dazai away, attacking him. Another scene of one of the Kodetsu. Yakumo, we know that from PV03, Yakumo goes full edgelord because Yoko tells him that he's a hypocrite for utilizing demons. I'm gonna go over that again. There's another scene in this opening movie that makes me think about that thing that Yoko mentioned too, which causes Yakumo to turn around and like stab Nuo, which I reacted strongly to when I saw that, but there are people who have been saying it, you know, since Nuo is seen later, you know, maybe it wasn't a fatal stab, she's able to come back since she's a demon. It wasn't like, you know, something meant to kill her, it was just a display that Yakumo did to prove a point. He's like, oh, I'll do whatever's necessary, you know, that kind of thing. Which I think when I saw that scene after, I reacted strongly. Then after, I was like, yeah, he probably has a reason. It's Yakumo. He has a reason for doing the shit that he does. Yeah, it's interesting though. The thing they're showing there, it kind of looks like he's like losing it, slowly like losing his sanity. So I don't know, like, I wonder, you know, he's very in the Vanilla V, he's very anti-demon, even though he has a demon partner, you know, he's part of a Nahobino pair, and he, throughout the game, they don't show him directly doing this, but if you talk to NPCs around Tokyo, they talk about how Yakumo's, like, you know, breaking into Bethel and the labs and stuff, and stealing the phones, basically the demon summoning devices, and giving them to people around so that they can actually summon demons, which you think would, like, you know, any person that, if you think about it, it'd be like, okay, why is he doing that if he's against demons? Why is he giving people the ability to summon demons if he's, you know, against demons, that kind of thing. So it's probably why Yoko was calling him a hypocrite. I'll go over that more in a little bit, though. Here we have the scene of Tao and Yoko, not Yoko, Sahori. I have seen this in a previous trailer, but Yoko is also Yoko is also with them. Tripping over my words, but Yoko's mindset of taking vengeance on people who oppress you, who bully you, that sort of thing. Her words are, you know, influence Tao to take action against the bullies for her friend Sahori. And so, you know, she's doing that here where she picks up a piece of glass and is trying to threaten the bullies. And I think even Yoko, like, encourages her to fucking kill them. So, you know, it's pretty dark. You know, I don't know, because I didn't watch up to that point in the 6-hour stream, I don't know, like, if she actually stabs anyone. I don't know if she'll do anything. We'll see. Does Tao have it in her to stab someone? I don't think she would, but of course it was said that characters do change quite a bit from the way they're depicted in Vanilla V, so it will be interesting. We have more of the Kaditsu here. And we're also showing the protagonist again in that, the fetal position, floating in a void. This is Lilith collecting the Magatsui into that, like, ball that she keeps carrying around, which like I said, is probably to fuel the bigger thing, that bigger space that we see, the big orb thing that's probably them trying to create a new world, or summon, like, a primordial being. We've seen this scene before, with the protagonist in a white space, and this is where he looks like he's talking to Tao. It has been suggested that this is after, or like when the sacrifice happens, and possibly when the protagonist is dying because of what happens during the sacrifice. Tao is shown there too. There's also a scene that looks like he's kind of fading away in the white space when the sacrifice happens, so that's why it kind of seems like it's assumed that when the sacrifice is going on and the Nahobino is being attacked, then it seems like the human protagonist is being stolen away or being killed, or you know, he's being stolen away and utilized by the Kadetsu. And as in the Nahobino body, it kind of looks like the way they're depicting that is Aogami is the one that's like, you know, as the sacrifice is happening, he's looking up and seeing the protagonist sort of like being taken away from him in that white space, like fading away as he's possibly dying. There's that thing that's getting bigger, this weird orb thing. It's growing. Don't quite know what it is yet. And I did see this scene here, this was in the 6-hour stream, but this is when Nama is attacking various people in the station and I guess capturing their Magatsui? Gathering energy. She's just like pulping them left and right. We got a shot of Tokyo Tower. That's where Lucifer ends up showing up, and that's like an incident that happens 18 years ago. And that's when Aogami, Aogami was present there for when Lucifer showed up, and then of course he disappears. He shows up later. Shot of Lilith. The Nahobino encountering Mastama and a bunch of other angels around him, which in what I assume is the new area, Shinjuku, which is the area he's supposed to be looking after. This is Shakan. This is amazing. I always thought what they've shown of Shakan is really fucking amazing looking. I'm pretty excited to be able to explore that place. This is like... Of course, in previous footage, Abdiel, there's a bunch of angels in Shakan. Shakan is like a place you're not supposed to be going to. It's forbidden. It's supposed to be, from what they've said and shown, I believe it's hosting the source of the Shekinah glory's power there. So, of course, the angels are, there's high security with the angels there. Of course, Abdiel's going to be there confronting you. You go there as the new Nahobino form. I don't think they've said what they're utilizing the glory's power for yet, but I think people assume or theorize maybe it might be used to revive people that have been killed or sacrificed due to what the Kaditsu are doing. And of course, Abdiel's going to be there. You're probably going to fight her there compared to... You do fight her in Vanilla V, when you're at the council of the other gods. You end up finding Abdiel and basically making an embarrassment of her. It is funny, though, because she doesn't actually recognize who you are here. As you're going here as a new Nahobino form and fused with perhaps a certain someone else or utilizing Tsukuyomi's power, so she doesn't recognize you as the other Nahobino that she's used to saying. So it'll be interesting to get to this point and see what happens. This area looks amazing. It's very beautiful. This scene here is very interesting, and I'm sure there's a lot of theories about it, and there's something that's shown later that I want to talk about, but this is a major thing. Now, in this title loop, they don't actually show, other than that one scene in Shikan where they show the new Nahobino farm like way the fuck back, so you can barely see it. So they're not exactly spoiling the new form. However, this sequence here is showing Koshimizu and the protagonist standing together. Now, there are many theories about how the protagonist obtains the new form. And I think there's like 3 different things, because what's assumed to happen is a sacrifice. Kadetsu's try to sacrifice the Nahobino. Either they try to steal away the protagonist's knowledge or his soul, and because of that, Aogami intervenes, and the sacrifice is interrupted. We're not quite sure what becomes of the sacrifice itself, what they're able to obtain from the Nahobino during the sacrifice, but something happens to where you are separated from Aogami. You don't have him anymore to become the Nahobino that you originally were. And so, things happened and lead up to you becoming the new Nahobino form. There's footage that they've shown before. It was shown in like the, I made a video with it where they have, they've been releasing like character bios on Atlas Japanese Twitter. One of them was for Koshimizu. I believe that one shows him encountering you after you've lost Aogami, after the sacrifice happened, so you're just there as your human form, and he's talking to you, and of course they show scenes of you going to the lab, and also the new Nahobino form being in the lab. So if you put things together, it seems like the new form is obtained somehow in this lab. And normally in what we've assumed happens in this lab is, Aogami's maintenance. Anything related to Aogami is done in this lab. So they do stuff with the protofiends here. I brought up before my theory video, and also a Japanese Twitter user brought this up too, and I'll mention this later as well, is in this facility, so you have these tanks with like the green energy goop. It's probably like some sort of Makatsui. The 3 flags represent like the sacred treasures. So the theory is that in order to create the protofiends, or especially Aogami, it's possible that they have those sacred treasures, or they exist as remnants of leftovers of the Amatsukami, because the Amatsukami, things happen, like you had the war that happened, and the Amatsukami got wiped out. So what's assumed is that maybe the 3 sacred objects are what's left over of them, and that's what's being used to create the protofiends with, especially Aogami. So what might happen is maybe the Kusanagi is being used to create, like, to imbue Aogami with Susanoo's essence. So maybe the objects still obtain, have the three gods' essence clinging to them or something. They haven't, elaborated on that, but that's what's theorized. So normally, the center tank, for example, we usually see Aogami going into that and, getting maintenance. And they're standing in front of the tank here. I believe... I'm not sure what that middle tank is there. The theory about the new Nahobino form, there's 3 different ways that they can do this. And I want you to keep in mind when I spoke about Koshimizu being a protofiend before, because I feel like it's important. But it's either Koshimizu is going to have the protagonist be imbued with his essence. That's one theory, that they don't actually physically fuse, which I find I don't know. I would find it weird a little bit if they didn't physically fuse, considering Koshimizu is a proto-fiend, but one of the theories is that he's not going to physically fuse with you. He might utilize one of the tanks, and especially since they have the sacred objects in them, maybe you will get imbued with Tsukiyomi's essence, more directly. If one of the objects in the tank, maybe you'll get stuck in there. The human protagonist will get stuck in there, and maybe he will get infused with the essence, and this ends up changing his form. That's one of the theories, and I've guessed there have been theories related to footage shown in Vengeance, where there's such a thing as Magatsui communication, so maybe he will remotely communicate with you. Although for me, I feel like, given what Koshimizu has been throughout, like, you know, the whole game and the events that happened before, everything that's happened to Tokyo and everything that he's been through, I feel like he's got more, like outside the Yuzuru stuff, he's got more that he can, that would motivate him to take vengeance, to where I think that it would be more impactful if he was right there with you, if he physically fused with you. You know, partner drama aside, because I know people bring up that, and I think it's kind of like, it's whatever. The partner stuff, it's kind of whatever. If something happens related to that, it happens. But you have to consider, even though Vanilla V ends up making Koshimizu and Yuzu kind of seem like assholes because they're very focused on, you know, at first they make it about like, oh, you know, Tokyo's the most important thing, and that's why they you know, they want to become a Nahobino, but it ends up becoming them just trying to take the throne instead of you, right? To make a world for a myriad of gods. Even despite that, even if they're depicted kind of, you know, they're the Chaos Reps, they're depicted as being, you know, kind of asshole-ish in what they do. They're very, like, you know, goal-oriented. They're very much focused on the, you know, taking the throne and Tokyo being prioritized over everything else. Koshimizu has been through a lot. If you think about, like, you know, not only is he serving as the prime minister and the head of, like, the Bethel Laboratory and everything like that, but he's someone that got left over. I'm hoping they'll elaborate what exactly happened 18 years ago when the war happened and basically the Amatsukami got wiped out. And for some reason, Koshimizu was like, or maybe like whatever was left over from him was enough that they could, like, I don't know, shove into a proto-fiend body or something, because he's supposed to be a proto-fiend. It's not his original body. I have a video where I go over the Japanese guidebook where they mention that he's a proto-fiend. And they also mention that Aogami's intended to inherit his brother's power, or the power of the Amatsukami. That's another thing that I'll probably have to go over related to this. But So the Amatsukami get wiped out. He's the only one left. He gets shoved in the proto-fiend body. Maybe the Japanese government does this. Maybe the humans do this. The proto-fiend project has been going on for a very long time, way before the events of 5. So, you know, maybe they decide to revive him that way. But there was enough left over to where he can carry on, and he still has his memories and stuff like that. But even so, all the, you know, his family, his brother and sister gets fucking wiped out, and I'm guessing the only things that are left of them are the sacred objects. And then he decides, you know, because a lot of the Japanese gods get wiped out, he doesn't have a lot of help. So he ends up trying to utilize his brother's essence and making, like, he uses his own body, clones himself, and makes proto-fiends from those clones, and basically creates the Aogami units, where he's shoving his brother's essence into those units to use for combat. I mean, if you think about it, it's a really fucked up situation, and that's how, and also, those Aogami units, we know that those Aogami units, we end up seeing the corpses. We'll get to see the corpses and obtain the essences and Vengeance, but those those units didn't last long at all. There's a bench conversation with Aogami too that implies that he is very weak before he found you. So I'm guessing like maybe the units have varying power because they each have different, you know, they have different essences, they have different skills from Susanoo on them, but they all just got fucking obliterated. They didn't last long either. Not enough, and it was to the point where he's fucking going to Koshimizu is seeking help from high schoolers, giving him demon summoning devices because he just doesn't he just doesn't have anything left. So imagine if you are in his position, given all the events that have happened, things are really fucked. I feel extremely sorry for Koshimizu in the position that he's in, and not only that, he has to deal with Bethel and the angels, like, being under their foot and having the pressure on him to do things according to their way, and of course we do see him rebel against that. during Vanilla V, but if there's anyone that I could feel extremely sorry for, it would be him, given all the shit that he's had to deal with and all the stuff that he's tried to do to protect Tokyo. So if there's anyone that deserves to anyone that's felt oppressed also and deserves to take action and be on the field to do so, I think Koshimizu deserves that. So that's why I kind of think it would be more impactful if he was there with you, if he was the one that fused with you and become the new Nahobino form and run around with you and go to Shikan. We do know that there is a trailer that suggests he is providing navigation to you somehow. So the two main theories is either you get infused with the Tsukiyomi goop and he guides you via remote communication, which even if he does, I'm kind of wondering, okay, if he's guiding you, if he's not there with you and guiding you with the remote communication, then what the fuck else is he doing? Is he sitting back in the lab and observing Aogami's maintenance? That could be possible too. Because what I assume is going on here, and I know I'm talking for a very long time about this, but I think it's a very important scene, considering it's related to new Nahobino form, but if they're not going in the tank themselves, it is possible that they took the leftover corpse of Aogami, what was left of him after the sacrifice, and he's being put in the tank. And I want to go over that again because of what is shown later. So it's possible that the reason they're looking down into that area with the tank is because Aogami was just put down there and they're deciding on what to do. And then, they end up fuse, or the new, whatever method they use, the new Nahobino form comes about. Let's continue onward. Okay, this is the scene where the sacrifice happens, I believe, because right down below you see Yoko and the Nahobino and Nama right above there. There's this area too. This is in Shinjuku. I believe this is some sort of government building. They showed it before, but it's very significant because they keep showing it. And it's possible this is where the ending of the game takes place. Because they showed a lot in I think parts, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with this, but I believe this is going to be a very important location. Okay, this scene here. This scene here is interesting, and like I said, there was a Japanese Twitter user that also pointed this out. But we know that the three flags around this main tank here represent the three sacred objects. I kind of went over the theory before. Now, what's showing here? What seems to be, I don't know if this was the case when they were during the scene where they're doing maintenance on Aogami, but it looks like these three different tanks that they have are being used to infuse into the main tank. So my theory is that Aogami's corpse gets stuck in here. And you go off, you become the new Nahobino with Koshimizu, and then you go off to Shikan. And what's going on here is that Aogami, we don't know. Okay, the guidebook does mention that Aogami was meant to inherit the power of the Amatsukami, which also includes his brother's essence. And they have these three tanks here. They probably include the power of the three sacred objects, which would be related to the Amatsukami. My question is if they're going to do this, if Aogami is being shoved in there and being infused with all three sacred objects, with the essences of them, to power him up and revive him, I'm just wondering if they are going to do this, why didn't they do this before? Why are they only deciding this now? Why? Is it something that they didn't want to try out yet? That it was just... It's not something that they had tested, so they didn't want to make... They just didn't want... It just wasn't tested enough? Making a superpowered Aogami? Why didn't they have one before? Why didn't Koshimizu use this tactic before? Was he, waiting for the right time to do this? To infuse Aogami with the power of the Amatsukami? Why did he wait to do this? I'm just wondering, or maybe he was waiting for the right unit, because they had, they had, how many different units of Aogami did they have? 12 or so? Or maybe more than that. Maybe he was just waiting to see it, test how they are in the battlefield the different units to see, like, to go through each one and basically see, okay, which one is the most ideal unit in after it encountering combat for a while, like which one is the most ideal to use for this Amatsu, the Amatsukami power fusion. I'm guessing that's what it is. We don't know. I hope they explain why they're just waiting now to do this. Just waiting until the last unit gets pulped. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was just waiting to see how long the units last before he tried this method. Maybe it's a last resort type thing. You know? The way they mention the book, it almost makes me think having Aogami inherit the power of the Matsukami was like a backup thing, like a last-ditch effort that would be utilized in case things got really fucking bad. And they do here, so maybe that's why it's utilized. And, obviously, in the PV-03, at the end of the trailer, we do see... It does seem to be implied that Aogami does return after the sacrifice happens, and he's gone for a while. He gets pulped. His life force or whatever. He does get pulped, but it seems like he does return towards the end, and he does look like he might be powered up. And they don't show what happens, like they show a sequence which looks like they're about to fuse. I think I mentioned this when I was going over the PV-03, but it's possible. Everyone is theorizing that he might take on a different form. Maybe he's finally he's either got the power of the Amatsukami in him. He's fully awakened to being Susanoo. So it's possible maybe that you'll get a third Nahobino form. Maybe he'll become a true... Maybe he'll become look like an actual Susanoo. Maybe awaken his demon form. I don't know. It does seem like we're probably going to get a new form, though. And this what's going on here is probably related to that. He's probably being, pumped full of Amatsukami juice as much as possible. And then he'll return later. But maybe, I'm wondering, that's the thing. Is this a process that takes a while? Maybe that's why they didn't try it before, is it's something that's super experimental. They never really tested it before. It's something that would take a long time to do, so it wasn't efficient for what was going on. Maybe it wasn't something that is, guaranteed to be successful. Maybe it's had failures before. Also, regarding the thing with whether Koshimizu would stay behind and just remote communicate with you or not, is this something... I mean, if he had to do that, maybe it's because he has to oversee the process of Aogami being infused with this. Maybe that could be an excuse for him to not, physically fuse with you, but just infuse you with his power instead. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. More the dream sequence of the Kadetsu. This is interesting here because it shows Yoko walking. This is what looks like Shikan, so Yoko has appeared in Shikan. This happens in Jozori Temple. I believe the Kadetsu appear here, but it's this weird orb thing. I believe this is when Yakumo also stabs Nua, so a bunch of shit happens here at the temple. And then the Glaciobolus pulping the humans. This is when Nama was also in the station killing people as well. So I don't quite know. It's in the scene here. You're looking at your hands as a human being and not as a Nahobino. So I'm very curious about this particular scene here. I don't know if you're in Shikan. I think it's Shikan because the floor kind of looks like it, but it's not as illuminated as Shikan usually is, so I'm wondering where you're at. But he's looking at his hands as a human being, so I wonder what happened. It's not transformed there. This is interesting here. So I believe this is also Jozori Temple, but it's not wrecked to shit or anything. It is Koshimizu and Yakumo just standing and talking together, which is very interesting. I brought it before how Yakumo is criticized because, he's on a... he goes on a power trip. He's basically, he's anti-demon, and yet he's doing stuff to give people the demon summoning devices so that giving them to humans so that they can fight for themselves and utilize the demons. And, he's got a demon partner that's Nua and everything. And Yoko criticizes him and calls him a hypocrite. Even though he's anti-demon, he utilizes demons. He weaponizes them to do what he needs to do. And here he's standing and talking to, someone who is a demon himself. It is revealed, Koshimizu is Tsukiyomi. Koshimizu is the Chaos Rep, demon of the Nahobino pair with Yuzuru. And he's the guy who reps for... He's part of the ending. Choosing to side with him and Vanilla V is deciding to choose the path of a world for a myriad of gods, which is supposed to be the chaos alignment. So it's interesting to see them talking here because I wonder, given that Yakumo is not entirely against utilizing demons for his cause, he's against demons, but he's not against using demons. And then Koshimizu is the director of the program for giving people the demon summoning devices. He's the director of the lab that's in charge of that stuff. So I'm curious if they end up, talking and coming to an agreement. Obviously, they both care about Tokyo very much. Both of them. So I'm just wondering if they're actually going to come to an agreement and talk and say, like, hey, we can agree to something together. You don't have to wreck the labs and break into them and steal the demon summoning devices. Koshimizu is already giving high schoolers the devices. Maybe they can come to an agreement about it and be like, hey, we can do this. We can try and protect Tokyo together. We can try and agree on a plan to help protect Tokyo. And also not demonize demons in the process. We can work with demons. We can use them to help protect Tokyo. That's what I'm assuming what happens, but it is interesting to see them together and not trying to kill each other. There's Yoko here. This is like the rooftop scene. I think this happens when Tao is talking to the protagonist. The protagonist in the white space again. Dream sequence. So we see this is Aogami's hand pushing away the protagonist, and this is in the same space, I believe, when you see him, in the fetal position. What I'm assuming happens here is that this occurs during the same time the sacrifice happens. And you're depicted in fetal position. Maybe it's during the time when you're about to die, or maybe when your knowledge is about to be stolen, and you're depicted in this way. And then Aogami just comes in and pushes you away to sort of symbolize him sacrificing himself. When the sacrifice happens, is that he is using himself. Whatever he does, he's utilizing himself or putting himself in your place so that you don't die. That's what I'm assuming is happening here, is he's pushing you away to protect you. There we go, that is it. It's a lot of spoilery stuff in that title loop, holy shit. Okay, and I will go over I'm actually just going to watch the English version of the trailer, the other trailer that Atlas West posted that's got a bit more information as well. So this is the launch trailer. I actually forgot it was for the launch trailer. There's some, I feel like there's some spoilers in here, but not as much, and it might be for the best that they didn't put too much in this trailer compared to the other trailers that they've released. If this is going to be the launch trailer, you don't want to shove too many super spoilery things in your launch trailer. But this also has dialogue, so...
If you want revenge, then I'll help you get it.
Obviously, we see the Lamu battle. The Lamu battle still happens in Vengeance, I guess.
And those who lack that strength of will no longer deserve to live.
Very good music in this the launch trailer as well.
Birth, death, then rebirth.
And we know there's a lot of new tracks that were made for Vengeance, and what we've heard already is just amazing.
It's exceedingly unlikely that this could be the work of a human. A demon must be behind it. Demons and humans.
This track here, I really love. This is a track that plays when you're battling the Kadetsu. Mastaba. Mastaba having the time of his life. Yeah, there's I'll go over this again. Yuzuru just said the power of demons is not enough. The power to summon demons. Like I said, he's...
We destroyed this and we could end their plans.
Now, it's possible the dialogue's going to be slightly different in the,
Always such a shame.
I know they end up possibly saying different things in the Japanese version, but...
Face my own problems. No more. I won't abandon you. I still want my revenge and my freedom. Yoko?
Your knowledge will serve. Its destruction is at hand.
It's gonna be really cool. They've been showing, I'm trying not to spoil myself too much, because they're showing even more, they showed even more gameplay footage. I guess someone was doing a stream, might be on the Atlas Japan, either the Twitter or like the YouTube, but there was also another stream. They've been doing like multiple streams where they're showing more gameplay footage from the game. They were showing like the new Nahobino segments too. I definitely want to avoid that. I'm not viewing that. I'm also not gonna view they released the trophy list, which includes endings for Vengeance. Not gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna view it. You know, I didn't want to talk about the track list, the OST either, because it's getting like it's getting to the point where it's super spoilery, and the game's going to be coming out Friday, so I think it's better either Thursday or Friday, like I said, depending on where you are, and you're better off just wait. You're better off just waiting. The game is going to come out very, very soon. You don't need to spoil yourself on everything, and of course, even the things they're showing here are quite spoilery already, even if it's shown out of context. Let me go over the stuff shown here.
If you want revenge, then I'll...
So we see that they're having the battle with Lamu inside the school. It doesn't look like it's on the rooftop this time. Looks like a different location. But Yoko's there, Sahori and Tao is there with you.
help you get it.
Humans need the will to survive at
Of course,
any
we've seen this. This is a
cost.
scene from Vanilla 5.
And those who lack
This
that
is a
strength
scene
of
when
will-
Nama is attacking the humans, and the Nahobino does something really funny there. Well, the human protagonist forgets how to become Nahobino in that segment. So this is that building, the ruins, the structure I brought up before, which I think is a government building. It looks like they're gathering all the Magatsui for the New World, or the entity that they're trying to summon in this place. So it might be, like I said, it might end up being an end-game place, or maybe a mid-game place, I don't know. And then it gets destroyed. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I didn't, because a lot of the footage is cut up, I didn't realize that they do show a bunch of buildings and stuff being destroyed, but maybe I only just realized now that same building, where it looks like they're sucking the energy, all the gathering the Magatsui is getting targeted. So maybe these like nuke-like the beams that are being shot out, I don't know if they're actually like from the same source, because like if the Kadetsu are gathering energy in this the ruins of some government building, maybe it's like Mastama that's responsible for the nukes being shot and it destroying a bunch of stuff, nuking everything. I wouldn't be surprised. Trying to nuke all the shit to prevent the Kadetsu from. It's very confusing because the series, based on the footage, sometimes it looks like Mastaba is actually like helping the Kadetsu And other times it looks like he's not helping them and is actually against them. So it's like, it's hard to tell from the way the footage is cut up. You know, it's possible that Mastaba is like doing his own thing, opposite to the Kadetsu, but sometimes it looks like he's working with them. So it'll be interesting to find out what exactly he's up to. I actually, they did show it here. It does look like he's enjoying the nukes being dropped, so that's why I want to say that he has something to do with those beams of light coming down and fucking everything over. Yeah, this going on here, which just looks like multi nukes going off and destroying the ruins of what's left of Tokyo. All these structures here.
It is the world's fate.
So this is, I think this is the Jizodi temple area, so they're having a battle here. Might be different from the Lamu battle that you have in Vanilla V, though.
Be remade. Birth, death, then rebirth.
Oh, you're fighting Yakumo. Are you fighting Yakumo there? Hold on. Yes, you are. Yeah, you don't fight him in Jizoji Temple before. He has shown here when there's some shit going on, like Yoko criticizes him, and then he goes and stabs Nua. So I guess you're gonna have a Yakumo fight here, which is pretty cool. So I'm wondering if the sequence, or like how early or later you fight Lamu changes, because if you're fighting Yakumo, I'm gonna assume you fight Yakumo actually a lot earlier than you normally do. You're fighting him there.
It's exceedingly unlikely that
Tokyo Tower and Hydra battle, which, you know, that occurs in Vanilla V.
a demon must be behind it.
Artemis. Highlighting Artemis for some reason. I don't know.
Demons and humans cannot
Showing Nua and Yakumo together. We'll see what happens with their relationship after Yakumo turns around and stabs her. Will they stay together? I wonder. Yeah, see here he's enjoying it. He's like enjoying the nukes, the light. He's having a good time with the light shower, as if he's like, look at him.
After our parents passed
So yeah, I think he has something to do with the nukes going off,
it was my responsibility
or whatever those are.
to safe. But having the power to summon demons isn't enough.
So yeah, Yuzuru, it's mentioned before, but Yuzuru is not happy with the things happening to his sister and the things going on with Tokyo itself. And, you know, he says that summoning demons is not enough. So, you know, Dazai, in one of the trailers, I don't know if it's this one or in the Japanese version of the trailer, but Dazai says, you know, he's got to stop his friend. His friend is, you know, wanting to become a Nahobino or trying to seek more power. Outside of just summoning demons, and so, you know, I'm sure because of that, Dazai probably gets looped into some angel shit and gets manipulated into thinking like, well, you need to go kill him instead before he becomes a Nahobino or something. I don't know, we'll see what happens.
I, Lilith of the Kadishtu, shall return the world to its true form.
We
So
destroyed
this is
this
kind
and
of stuff
we could end
we,
their plans.
this is stuff we've kind of already seen before.
Always such a shame when the prey is
Of course, I'm going to be playing, you know, of course I'm going to be playing the Vengeance route. Oh, okay, so we're gonna, okay, so we see, Nua at Jizoji Temple as well, so I wonder if we're gonna have a fight. I don't think we actually got a chance to fight both of them, like, you know, unfused, not as a Nahobino, but I'm going to assume you actually fight Nua and Yakumo in the same area.
I still want my revenge.
And there's this thing here. Tao looks shocked. And now, there was a thing in PV-03 where she was embracing, it looked like Tao was embracing Yoko. Because, like, Yoko was, like glowing. It looked like Yoko was possibly going to change. Or maybe assume a different form. That's possibly what's happening here. Just getting powered up and becoming a demon or some other form. Okay, and then here, Lilith, I believe that's Lilith, the one that's talking, mentions the protagonist's knowledge. What's assumed is she's referring to the protagonist, but his knowledge specifically is what is going to be used to create this new world or put things back to where they think they should be.
Its destruction is at hand.
I have to do this.
There is someone that shows up there. Hold on. If we were saying this staff looks like Beelzebub, so obviously he's in the game. You can get him. You don't actually have a fight with him in Vanilla V. You just fuse to get him, but now we're gonna actually get a proper fight here. And of course, another demon that they showed footage of that you do get to fight as well. Have a proper fight with is Mara, because before you can only get him by fusion in the creation route, but you'll actually be able to get to fight Beelzebub and Mara in Vengeance, which is cool.
I have to save
So
everyone.
old Lucy. Okay, that is it. Now, I think that's all I can talk about the footage, and I have some scans of a certain magazine have been released, and I will be going over those because there's some interviews in that and some interesting commentary and stuff. It's just going to be rough translations. I will go over those as well. I'll record a separate video and just put this, attach it to this one. And of course I will not be showing scans. I absolutely will not, because I don't want to get struck. So we'll just be discussing the information itself the best I can. Hello, so I've decided for the video where I'm going over the magazine information, such as information related to the new Nahobino form, and the big interview that's published in that magazine, because I'm going over a rough translation and making commentary on it, and it ended up being a lot longer than I thought it'd be. I'm actually making this a separate video, and I will not be tacking this onto the video with the when I'm discussing the launch trailer and the title loop. So this will be a completely separate video. So I am leaving this note here at the end of the title loop and launch trailer discussion video, and then I will put this will be of course at the beginning of the magazine information discussion video as well.